This is Python's Paradise. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena. And folks, we're straight out of Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, and it is May 19th, 2021. And I'm wearing my Victim No More t-shirt here. I'm going to show that off here on the video because that is the subject at hand today. Looking very Friday the 13th part 2-ish, which is one of my favorite posters from that franchise.
Mhm.
And I've got a returning guest today. I have the director of Victim No More on the show, who I've been in touch with for the past
Weekly.
couple years. Yeah, weekly. Yeah,
Weekly.
weekly. Yeah. Folks, I have the awesome Bobby Heckman. How do you do, Bobby?
Thank you. Thank you for that awesome introduction. I'm doing pretty great right now. I'm doing great talking to you. Wearing your Victim No More shirt.
Yeah, why aren't you wearing yours?
Which is, I'm wearing, what am I? I'm wearing a Friday 13th Part 6 Jason Lives Gutters garb shirt.
Hey, you know what? That's awesome. That's the best one of the franchise.
I certainly love it. It was my favorite one growing up. And then at some point in my early 20s, I decided Final Chapter was my favorite, but Part 6 is neck and neck with it.
I
Four
think
and
Part 6 and Part 4 are the two best ones of the franchise.
Absolutely.
You know?
Those are the ones I recommend the people to watch if they've never seen. I mean, honestly, we should all watch from Part 1 and go on. But if they don't, if they want an idea of how much fun the Friday series are, then it's like, hey, watch 4, because you got the recap of 1, 2, and 3 in there. So they kind of tell you what's going on. And then Part 6 is like the one, you could watch with a family and and enjoy it.
I love Part 6. I love Part 6. I think Part 6 is probably the best written. I mean, you got a car chase in that. You got
yeah.
Like you got everything in that. I think Part 6 is friggin' great. If this lawsuit gets dealt with, I mean, Tom McLaughlin is already with another script ready to go.
Yeah, it's a perfect balance of humor, horror, and heroics.
And all the references he makes, like
oh yeah,
Jason, the lightning bolt, total homage to Frankenstein.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One of my favorite classic monster character. So
I have Bela Lugosi Jr. or not Bela Lugosi Jr. I did have him on, but I've had Sarah Karloff on here.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Daughter of Boris Karloff. So
yeah.
Anyway, I've got the box set sitting over there too, and it's amazing. Never Hike Alone is actually better than a lot of the films are, I think.
Well, Never Hike Alone definitely set the bar of the quality that you could have with a fan film.
Mm-hmm.
The acting is great, the pacing is great. They keep it short and tight, which is exactly what Victim No More is trying to accomplish. We're not trying to do an hour and a half movie and stretching out some kind of budget, because just the budget isn't there to do that.
We got to clear something up here first. I found out something this past year that may have me scratching my head. I'm like,
COVID?
No. That, yeah. I'm going to be 49 in July.
Oh, okay. I know where you're going.
Yeah. You know where I'm going with this. Mm-hmm. I'm like, you're younger than me, and you got hair as like Santa Claus.
I got hair like Tom McLaughlin.
Tom McLaughlin's hair is not gray.
Oh, it's not. You know what? I always mix him up with Mick Garris, the long gray hair.
Oh, there you go.
But yeah, I've had gray hair since kind of my late teens. Not full on gray, white, how it is now, but definitely by my early 20s, it was getting very, very white. And that's because my father and my grandfather, his father before him, all had white hair. So I'm very happy that I'm going to go the rest of my life with the head of hair I have now instead of
Actually, my best friend here in Fredericton is in the same boat as you.
yes.
Yep, same boat as you. He had apparently, I didn't know him when he was in high school, but he said he started going gray when he was in high school.
Yeah, he's silver fox.
Yep.
That's what they call
Well,
us.
you know what? There's nothing wrong with that, but it kind of threw me off. I was like, holy shit, I'm older than this guy.
Yeah, this actually makes me feel good because so many of the people that I talk to are always a lot younger than me and hang out with.
Well, if you're talking to Jill Whitlow, she better be younger than you.
I
I learned one thing about
make her feel young when we
I
hang out.
know if I know
So.
one thing about women, 39 is as far as they go.
Yeah, that's it. That's as far as they go.
That's it.
No, Jill's never been shy about her age. I don't think.
39.
I think when I first met her, she was like
39.
39. Yeah, I'm 39 years old. I think
39.
she said she was. I think she was 40.
Listen, you're
I think,
getting into blasphemous territory.
well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be.
Poor Jill.
Yes, I mean, even though it's a simple Google check, how old anybody is.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. Yeah. But no, I'm enjoying this ride, it's I got my name on 13 Fanboy, Hearts of Darkness, your film, Z Dead End, Social Distance,
mhm.
you know, and of course I appear in some James Balsamo movies. I had to pull back because financially I'm not in a place where I can just do this, and I get hit up a lot.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. You had mentioned that we both have been getting hit up a lot with a lot of like people see I'm making a fan film and they reach out to me to see if I want to contribute or support
hmm
theirs. And of course I can support, but at this point, over the course of the past year, it's like every dime that I'm making right now has to go into my own film. And it's like, I wish I had the money to support all these. I mean, there's a lot of great ideas out there. I mean, let's be honest, there's 100 Friday 13th fan films out there right now that are trying to be made, and Halloween now is like right below them. But I kind of like the ones that are doing like movies that only had like one film, like the original Black Christmas and My
Oh,
Bloody Valentine,
it's Me,
and
Billy
they're
by Dave
doing the fan
McRae.
films
Yeah,
of those. Yeah,
yeah.
like that's kind of cool, like, to make a fan film for the for the My Bloody Valentine fans out there. It's like that's different.
Is there
But
one
yeah,
out there for it?
every week I'm getting hit up.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't
what's up?
realize My Bloody Valentine had one.
Yeah, it's called Valentine Bluffs or something.
Mm.
It seems cool. But and I wish I could support it, but like I said, I gotta make my own film first before I could like move on to raising any kind of money to contribute to somebody else's.
I find there's a lot of people, and again, I might be stepping on toes here, but I find a lot of people are doing this to just in some way get famous. I
That's
think
not the way to do that. Yeah,
I think that Vincent DeSante has the right idea. You can
absolutely.
tell he knows the Friday the 13th franchise. And not only that, he gets the right equipment together to make these. Dave McRae, the same with It's Me, Billy. That looks phenomenal.
Hmm.
I find a lot of people, and again, I'm going to step on toes, but I've seen a few fan films to the point where I'm saying, budget, you know,
Hmm.
raise a little more money, try to get the right equipment. But I'm also going to stress this, I get tired of seeing fan films get pitched to me, and it's mainly people and their friends in their backyard making a movie and playing dress up.
Right.
I think they need to start doing a little research on price on some of these people. I'm not going to give out price range, but I've heard, the asking prices for people like Linnea Quigley and Bill Moseley. And I'm like, they're not what I call cheap, but they're within reason that you could raise that money,
If you announce that you want to get them for the movie, then you
Yeah.
have to make certain
Well, even
numbers.
so, I don't know how many, like my name is in at least 2, maybe 3 films with Felissa Rose.
Mhm.
I don't know what her asking price is, but she's getting hit up a lot. So I'm like, why not try to get somebody in your film that's going to attract an audience? Like you got Jill Whitlow, for example, not a huge name, but she was in Night of the Creeps.
Which is a huge cult classics and one of my favorite movies of all time,
Yeah,
and a lot of people's. So.
yeah. So I mean, she's a recognizable name.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, and obviously going into this, you knew that you had to get at least one name attached. You've got more than one name, but still, you had to get something. And I know if I was to go out tomorrow, I'm not going to do this because I'm not a filmmaker, but you know, but if I was to go out tomorrow to make a film, I would try to get people that people recognize. Even I'd even hit up some of the guests I've had that are friends, but I would not. Number one, I would never ask any of these people to do my film for free. I would still pay them. But, I just wouldn't do that. But I would try to get people that are friends of mine that are in the business that people would
Mhm.
know. I
Right.
could probably do that because of who I've been interviewing, but I'm not going to make a movie, but I'm just setting an example there. So,
Yeah. I feel like there's so many views that you could look at this from. I mean, let's look at Vin's movie, Never Hike Alone.
mhm.
Um, he did that movie with unknown actors that are in it. I mean, it's mainly based around one actor, but nobody knows who he is. He's fantastic in the movie. And then didn't announce who the cameo reveal is at the end, which we all know
You're
now is
right,
Tom
but
Matthews.
you got to remember though, when he did this, it was kind of around the start of the fan film thing.
That's also true. I
You
mean, but
know,
there have definitely been fan films before that I was seeing pop up all over YouTube that I would just kind of like, watch a little bit of it and then, turn it off and watch something else, or
did you see
watch
Never
another
Hike in
one.
the Snow?
Yes,
Yeah, so
yes,
he's got another person in that one. So
yes, but I feel like it wouldn't have if it wasn't successful. I mean, it's weird. It's a weird thing to think, but he did that movie basically by not revealing who the cameo was, and still got enough views when the word on the street hit that Tom Matthews pops up at the end and check this out. It's something different. It's done really well. And I feel like they wouldn't have been able to raise that amount of money for the Never Hike in the Snow if they didn't show off the quality of the film that they did with the first one, and got that other actor, what's his
mhm.
name, Vinny?
Gustafano, yeah.
Yes,
I,
Stefano.
I haven't had him on here yet. I got to get him at some point, but
Yeah, but it's like the success of that can lead to all the others sequels
mhm.
that they have in mind that they want to do, and they could raise that amount of money. So it's kind of like, I don't know, you can look at it like, all right, you can be successful if the story is good enough and still have no name actors in it. So many of the movies that we love whether they be low budget or decent budget, sometimes they have no name actors in it. And I mean, those Friday 13th movies, that we grew up with, those were all nobodies, at the time. And they were a huge success. So
A little different
it
story
really
there.
comes down to story. If the story is interesting enough to people, they're going to watch it no matter who's in it. That's really kind of my view. And if you could afford, to have a cameo in there, a celebrity cameo to push it even further, then, more power to you.
Friday the 13th did have Betsy Palmer, who I know was out of the business for a long time at that time, but she was still a recognizable name from the 50s.
She was, but I don't think to your average teenager at the time who wanted to go see that movie knew who Betsy Palmer was. They weren't born when she was famous in the 50s and 60s,
I don't know.
Or they were just being born,
I have problems with the original Friday the 13th right now. The scene where they kill the snake.
Oh yeah.
I'm like why? Like it shows me right there what and confidence Sean S. Cunningham has as a filmmaker. Because I mean, there's several of the characters that are killed off screen.
Mm-hmm.
But they kill the snake on screen, a real snake. I'm like, asshole,
Yeah, it could have been done off screen.
All they needed to do was show Bill swing that machete down a couple times and then show a reaction. They could have had the same effect. I swear, if I ever see Sean Cunningham at a con, I'm bringing this up.
He'll just shrug it off and go, okay.
He can. He's not going to win that. I got a film here that was signed and sent to me by Lynn Lowry called I Drink Your Blood.
Mm-hmm.
And it had rats in it that were being killed. And I found out in the commentary track, not one rat was actually killed, because there was the person, they had this woman that owned these rats, and they would come to her. And she said before the production, you're not harming my rats. So they had to have some fake rats made for up close scenes. But I found it interesting. That film was made 9 years before Friday the 13th. So Sean Cunningham has no excuse. He just basically did a dick move is what he did.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. But nonetheless, I am looking forward to Victim No More.
Thank you. And I can't wait. I can't wait to get the ball rolling.
Well, I know you got your cast assembled, and other than Jill Whitlow, we won't talk about any special cameos, but talk about the young cast that you've got selected for this film.
We have a lot of great local New York actors. A lot of them are theater actors, very professional. Some of them, it's their first movie. So, and it's kind of like, if you want to compare it to original Friday 13th movies, a lot of, those movies were like their first film project. So I like that idea of a couple of unknown people and giving them a shot and something that they could show their friends and family. And if they want to, do better in their career, it's like they have a project under their name now on IMDb and everything that, will get them work in the future. I really want to give a lot of them a chance to do that. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. They're all just great people and very gung-ho for this project. They're aware that there are some celebrity cameo appearances that will be in it. So they know that it will be seen. Because of the cameo appearances, I'm very confident that Never Hike Alone and a couple of these other fan film projects, that it will reach 1 million views on YouTube or Vimeo or, wherever it's going to be seen. So they know it's going to be seen, that they'll be seen. So they're gonna do their best as far as acting goes. Yeah. So, and we're going to start shooting mid-July, and go into the end of August, where we wrap and go into editing. And we're going to hopefully we're going to get the Blu-rays done, and the premieres will happen in November 2021.
Okay.
So and then depending on the success of it, or if people really dig it, then we'll do some conventions and promote it there. And we know we can't sell the Blu-rays.
No.
So, if we still, there's ways around, giving out the Blu-rays and everything. And we could sell merchandise. So, we're thinking like we could sell them in like packages where it's like, here, you can get, if you buy a t-shirt and pin and a hat or something, we'll give you the Blu-ray with it too, because you contributed in that way. So, and basically the contributing just leads to more Blu-ray production. So, so there's really no making money off of it, because it's just gonna go until Blu-rays run out, I feel. So,
Well, between this and 13 Fanboy, I'm going to tell you, I think people are fed up with this lawsuit.
oh my God. I don't even understand this lawsuit in the end, because it's like you're dealing with two guys, Victor Miller and Sean Cunningham, who are both in their 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, how long do they think they're, much longer they're going to be around to like
Victor Miller,
enjoy the money they're getting from lawsuits? It's like, just sell this property, make what, get what you can, and then just sell off the property so we can get more Friday the 13th movies.
Well, Victor Miller, I know, is thinking of his family. I've had him on here 3 times. Nice guy. Even he thinks that the scene with the snake is totally. He said he wrote it, but he didn't film it.
Right.
And really, yeah. I got nothing against it being written. I'm against how it was executed, but no, Victor is thinking of his family, but he took a lot of criticism, but really in the long run, if he's owed money, I'm like, can't blame him.
No, and you can't really. I just hope when he does get his money and everything, and he's set up for the rest of his life, and he sets up his family, then it's like, all right, now let the rights go to a studio that's going to do something with the property. I mean, the Friday the 13th movies, I feel like I just want them to go on forever.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing. So even if they have to start from scratch again, have a new, volume of Friday the 13th movies, to me, they've reached the point when you do like 12 films, you've reached the point where you're in like Godzilla and James Bond territory, and you can see similarities there where it's like everybody has their favorite look of Godzilla, their favorite era of Godzilla. With James Bond, everybody has their favorite Bond and their favorite Bond girl, which I guess you could compare it to Final Girl.
Ursula Andress. Ursula Andress all the way for Bond girls.
It's just fun to have like a franchise in the horror genre that like we could look at like that, where it's like, and everybody has a completely different ranking of Friday the 13th movies than, from person to person. Just like the Godzilla movies and James Bond movies. It's like, it's just a fun thing that you don't want to see die and just continue on.
I would like to see them go back to being scary. Like Jason X was just pure shit.
And many people feel that way, and I'm just kind of glad it exists, because just like again, because it's like the Godzilla thing. I'm like, well, clearly it's the, you know, basically they turn him into Mecha Godzilla. Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
yeah. It's the sci-fi comedy of the Friday 13th
Oh,
franchise,
frig, that was so bad. I mean, I like
and it's
seeing
funny, and
David
it's like,
Cronenberg show up for a cameo, but
yeah, that's
here's
my favorite
something I
part.
would like to see them go back to, is I'd like to see them go back to a final girl,
Mhm.
you know? This didn't bother me so much in part 6 because, well, part 6 didn't suck. But part 7, I had a major issue with the Kevin Blair character, Spareskis, or whatever they call him.
Right.
I don't, no disrespect to him. He did nothing there. I wanted to see telekinetic Tina. She didn't need a final guy with her, she had the power,
Right.
like, and the same with part 8. Um, like when you look at the original, Alice is isolated. It's just her.
Yeah.
Do you know how creepy it is in the back of your mind? It's just you. You've seen Bill hanging off that door.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
like when you see her in the kitchen there after she's latched everything up, and she don't know what to do. Everything's quiet. Doesn't have the same feel if you got a guy that are with her.
Yeah, because you don't feel as alone
Nope.
and isolated, and you have, you know, technically you have each other to protect.
Yep.
But I feel like, yeah, it's funny. They must have looked at part 6 and saw that a lot of people liked that and thought maybe that was something they took from part 6 on, was that, all right, the girlfriend boyfriend can like survive through the
Yeah,
rest
but
of the franchise, you know.
Tommy Jarvis was also resourceful. You gotta remember, part 6 also was quality done, which is something I
Hmm.
can't say about some of these other ones. But I mean, part 2, even, it was mostly Amy Steele.
Right.
Now, yes, Paul comes back in there at the end, but at least Paul was out of the way for a good length of time before he showed up.
Right.
So it was still scary for her. Same with Dana Kimmel in part 3. She was totally isolated. I mean, one of the bikers does make an appearance. Actually, the biker, to me, just saved her life because she was done for as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
But when it comes to part 3, I think they made a huge mistake because I think they should have had Tracy Savage as pregnant Debbie be the final girl, because that would have been
Yeah.
different.
That would have definitely been that would have been a great twist, actually, if you
Yep.
think you're with Dana Kimmel the whole time and thinking she's the final girl,
Yep.
or the one that's going to survive everything, and then you turn around and it's Tracy Savage,
Hmm.
who's pregnant, having sex, and just seems like a victim.
And then
Um,
the final chapter I got to bring up.
of
Yeah,
course,
you've got a couple of survivors in that. You got to remember, though, Corey Feldman is a young boy in this. He's resourceful.
it's the first time somebody's trying to protect their family in a Friday
Yep.
13th movie. So like
I
that's
don't.
what makes that one special.
I'm going to
Yeah.
tell you, I heard, and I love Dave McRae, but
Mhm.
I remember he and his friend were doing their show, Two Dudes and Some Bullshit, as they call it, and
Okay.
they watched the final chapter, and Dave, I think, was not into Trish Jarvis. Said she just doesn't feel like part of the group, and I'm kind of like, you got the kids next door. I love the family dynamic, but I'm going to tell you, my favorite final girl of the Friday the 13th franchise, of course, is Amy Steele.
Mhm.
My second would be Kimberly Beck as Trish Jarvis. And I'm
Same with
going to,
me.
well, to me, Kimberly Beck, look at the battle damage she did on Jason.
Absolutely.
I mean, number one, just the hammer blows to the head alone, and then the
And into
hammer
the neck.
claw, and
Yeah.
of course the television set, the and then the machete through the fingers.
Yeah.
She did some major battle damage. But I'm going to tell you, probably my favorite scene in the franchise is her going out through that window. It's
Oh
like
yeah.
it was either this or die. If I get a chance to save my brother, this might be the better chance. And she survived it. I love that. So I love Kimberly Beck. And
Yeah. She's definitely probably one of the most heroic, and she was leading Jason away from Tommy Jarvis,
mhm.
so that he can get away. So that sacrifice right there is huge. And then you're right, yeah, the battle damage that she does is great.
So when I watch part 7, I know this is my Friday the 13th ranking. It's very
Yeah.
divisive online. And
Oh
I
yeah, it's all over the place. You ask 5 fans how they rank their Friday 13th movies, it'll be completely different. And
yeah.
most of them, part 1 won't be the number 1.
Oh. Well,
So
I
it's
think
interesting.
one criticism I got is I ranked part 7 so low. Yeah, because the Nick character annoyed the fuck out of me in that movie. He gets knocked out twice in this film.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you, I said that Kimberly Beck going out through the window was probably the best scene I've seen in a Friday the 13th film. I love that shot.
It's a great
Part
shot.
7 contains my worst. There's a scene in that where Nick is firing bullets into Jason.
Mm-hmm.
And what does Jason do? Bats the gun out of his hand and pushes him in the boat.
Yeah.
I cringe every time I see that. Because
What bothers you so much about that?
poor Haas at the beginning of part 6, Ron Polito, he could have been so lucky just been pushed into that coffin. Nope, Jason rammed his fist straight through him with his heart beating on the other end. And I'm
Yeah.
like, and he pushes this guy into this canoe, and I'm like, this is so friggin' stupid. It
You
actually,
could have grabbed him, twisted his hed around, put his arm through him.
I
Could have did a million
absolutely,
different things.
I have a major issues with part 7 because
Yeah.
it's so, you know, I've interviewed Lar Park Lincoln. I really like her.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, I would have ended it once they blew the house up on top of him.
I had been saying that since I seen the movie when I was 12 years old. I remember thinking like, well, first off, it was the first one I saw in the theater,
Same
and
here.
I had a great time and I loved it, and I wanted to see it again. And but I remember after the second time I saw it, I was like, they could have just. I mean, we've never seen a house explosion in a Friday 13th movie. Like, isn't this big enough of an ending? And she had enough battle with Jason before that to end the movie when the house explodes, and then they could have like survived and hugged on the dock, and then the ambulances come the next scene and take them away. Like that is
Take him
enough of
away
an
and then
ending.
cut back to the house and have Jason's hand come up through part of the wreckage.
Or use the alternate deleted scene where you see some guy like fishing and Jason just comes out of the water and like grabs him
Yeah.
under, like harking back all the way to part 1 or something.
I wonder if they could.
That is enough of an ending for that movie to make it still like great. Like instead they did the ghost dad thing and
that was dumb.
And the little dock sequence. And I'm like, I don't think you need that. I mean, but again, that's me. And that's been me since I was 12 or 13 years old thinking that. But
yeah,
there's fans that are so nostalgic for that movie, they don't want anything changed. And, they can't imagine it any different than what they love about it. So,
Yeah, I had some issues with that movie. I like the look of the film as far as that goes. I like Lara Park Lincoln. She's nice and easy on the eyes. But But the reason I bring this up is, again, I haven't seen the script to Victim No More, but
Mhm.
I'm hoping that you go back to the full Final Girl thing or the isolation thing. I want to see that.
Well, we kind of go through moments of isolation, but I can't say anything of it, of course, but here's the thing with the movie. As a fan, in my mind, I thought, as a fan, what would I want to see in a Friday the 13th movie that a lot of fans have wanted to see for years? So I kind of made a list in my head. Um, and when I was coming up with a synopsis for the plot, I was kind of like jotting down, brainstorming ideas of like things that I wanted to see. And that might be a fun twist or like a pleasing twist, not like, where is this coming, out of nowhere. But just different ideas from a fan's perspective, what I would want to see. And of course, as we just said, fans have different views and different rankings and their favorite Jasons, their favorite Final Girls, their favorite looks of Jason. Like there's different things to consider. So I was just going by my own personal thing. Like one of my personal things that I don't like with a lot of the Friday the 13th fan films right now is that a lot of the Jasons that they've been using are the same type of Jason look. Like, as great as Never Hike Alone is, it's not my favorite Jason look. It's the Freddy versus Jason 2009 Friday 13th Jason where he's wearing like a jacket or an overshirt like that. So it's just like, that's just not, personally, that's just not a Jason that I care for. That's not my favorite kind of Jason look. And I've seen like 3 other fan films doing the exact same Jason. Maybe in their minds, they're continuing from the Friday the 13th movies that left off. So they're staying with that particular look. So I said, well, I'm going to do a mishmash of different style of Jason. There is certain aspects, certain obscure references. I like more obscure references than in-your-face references for the hardcore fans. I will spoil this because it's cut out of the script.
Okay.
But I had a whole sequence where a character shows up and she's giving directions to the main character and how to get to the campgrounds. I'm not spoiling anything there because that's in the synopsis. So there was a character that was giving directions on how to get to the campsite where it won't be, where he could avoid park rangers and trespassing and stuff like that. At the end of that scene, I reveal that character to be Mary Jo Conrad.
Oh.
So I thought, to hardcore fans, they know the name of Mary Jo Conrad from part 3, which Dana Kimmel and her boyfriend mention her name, but we've never seen that face that goes with that name. So it was going to be like a late 50s, early 60s woman who introduces herself as like, I'm Mary Jo Conrad. And that would have been great on that level for, fandom. They'd be like, oh my God, we have a face now that goes with the name. So that idea is out there now because of this interview right now. So any fan film that wants to use Mary Jo Conrad, go for it. I thought it would be a great thing. So I'm bigger on the obscure references than the in-your-face references that maybe quote the Friday 13th movies too closely. Where it's kind of like, all right, I get it. You're that character quoting this from that particular movie. I'm just like, I'm fine with that, and people seem to love that, but it's just not. I rather go the more subtle or obscure.
You gonna bring back Gordon and Muffin? Bring back Toby.
I should have 3 characters in it called Toby, Muffin, and Gordon, named after the dogs. Was there any cat names? No, I don't think there was any cat names.
Well, Adrian King had a cat at the beginning of part 2 that was so instrumental. And
Yeah, she just sat there meowed. Didn't even have a name. Just kind of flew in through the window.
there you go.
Cats just like to jump out of things in the movie.
Yeah, mine's been avoiding us here now. He's sitting over there. Doesn't want on camera anymore.
But that's kind of like what I was kind of going for, is like, giving a lot of fans, maybe some things that they don't see coming, but maybe will be pleasing because they see that it's, being made by somebody who's a huge fan of the franchise, that knows the obscure references of like things like Mary Jo Conrad. And just little things here and there. I mean, honestly, with this film, in the end, it'll probably be 40 to 45 minutes.
Are we going to get like a dance off between somebody that does the Jimbo dance and somebody that does the Vi dance?
There will be a dance sequence. I'm not even joking about that.
Oh,
there will be a dance sequence, because, and that again is like one of those like subtle reference, not subtle, but the memorable things that we love in Friday the 13th movies. There's always a character who's singing to themselves and maybe dancing, so there's always like somebody in a couple of the movies like that. But I do, after I wrote this script, I realized how much I reference every single one of the Friday the 13th movies, all 12 that are out there. There's like something, it could be a line here, it could be a little moment here, like it could be a situation where I'm just like, I didn't even realize how much these movies are in my blood and storytelling. That, I mean, so much so that I realized that one of the lines is exactly like a line in a Friday the 13th movie, and I had to change it because it was too like, oh my God, I just totally, that's the exact line. I didn't even realize it. So now I have to go back and rewrite that line. I
don't recall whether I asked this before or not, but I'll bring it up here just in case. Who's doing the makeup effects for your film? 'Cause obviously, you're going to have some killings in it.
His name is Ricky Vitus.
Okay.
He's a good friend of ours as in me and some of the crew. I've known him for a few years, and he actually was a contestant on Sci-Fi's Face Off.
Oh, okay.
And everybody knows Face Off, the special effects contest show. And he does such incredible work. But you could find him, Ricky Vitus Effects, or Ricky Vitus on Facebook or Instagram, and he's fantastic. He actually works. He does restoration for old movie props.
Okay.
From all the movies that we loved growing up. So it's incredible to think that while he's working on the effects, it could be like working right next to the company he works for is the Tom Spina company.
Okay.
And they house a lot of like movie props and stuff that they need to restore and send back out, and it's an incredible company. It's very hush hush on like where it's located because it's that important. But it's great to think that, oh my God, he's working on our Friday the 13th fan film effects right next to things for the most famous movies, like in the same shop, like, so that's just like an incredible thing. Probably the only thing I could say that he worked on that he has pictures of that he put out there. So he's worked on original Gremlins from 1984's Gremlins.
Oh, nice.
Like and restored like the puppets. So it's amazing to like even think that, oh my God, Gremlins are like right next to like effects for my film that are being, made. It's just very cool.
You could have
pass on some of that magic from the old movies.
You could have Gizmo play Muffin. So do you have a camp that you guys are going to do this at? I'm assuming this is going to be a camp.
That's been an ongoing production issue that we're going to be straightening out within the next couple of weeks. I can't really talk about that much, but yes, we are hoping for a certain campsite that would be perfect for the project. So we're going to straighten that out shortly. Hopefully by the time this airs, it will be that situation that we want in that location that we want to lock down. But that's all I can say about that right now. But yes, we have a campsite in mind.
So to quote part 4, how many dead fucks are going to be in this movie?
How many dead fucks? I don't want to spoil that either, because it'll take away suspense of like who may live or die towards the end. One thing I like to do is give you a couple of likable characters before offing them.
Yeah, that's been lacking in a few of the later films, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I tried to make a couple of the characters in it very kind of likable, whereas they're just kind of talking about real life situations and making them real. So, and you spend enough time with them to be like, you know what? Immediately when they're shown, they're eventually going to die because it's a Friday the 13th fan film.
You see, that's the difference. That's the difference between part 6 and part 7. Part 6, even the smaller characters, you're kind of invested in.
Oh, yeah.
I don't find that with a lot of the characters in part 7, which was a major drawback. It's like all we have to do is assemble a bunch of people and kill them.
Yeah, and like you got the idiot, the pothead, and the bitch girl. It's like, all right, well, they're all gonna die. So
yeah.
But I tried to make a couple of like real characters that you can see actually being a couple that you might know. And their conversations that they have seems very real. So you're kind of like, well, I kind of want to see these people live. But even though what's going to happen to them is going to be horrible.
Are you going to have a Crazy Ralph kind of character in this?
I had thought about it, and I'm trying to think if I actually. No, there's no Crazy Ralph type character. You're all doomed. Kind of. I mean, it's kind of like what the main character is going through, where his family wants to keep him safe by always keeping an eye on him, and him feeling paranoid about just trying to move on with his life. And he just feels like his mom is too overprotective of him, and he can't, he has a hard time, dealing with, his, the freedom of life and doing what he wants. So it's almost like everybody that you don't see in the movie that he feels is watching him are the Crazy Ralphs of the world, telling him that you're doomed if you go here, you're doomed if you do that, you're doomed if you don't live your life confined to, where you live, and, living a safe life in a safe environment. So I guess the Crazy Ralph, idea is there, if you want to look that deep into it. But yeah, there's nobody that says you're doomed if you go there.
Is Lori going to be in it?
I don't think so. At first she was kind of like, I kind of wanted her to be in it, but she's just like doesn't want to be seen on camera.
Why not?
Yeah, so I don't know. She just, she might be actually working most of the time when we're shooting this, so I don't think she's going to be on set.
Yeah.
For probably any of it, because she'll know how shooting the movie is very very difficult. So she probably would rather not have that personality of me, be be seen in her light. So the very goofy, fun-loving husband that I am.
Yeah.
She wouldn't want to see me directing and getting annoyed and trying to work on shots and trying to, get the day's shoot done, So I probably prefer her not to be there. So
darn, I was going to look for her in this.
it's not completely ruled out, but we'll see when a particular day.
She could be Mary Jo Conrad.
We're gonna have to shoot another short where she's Mary Jo Conrad, and we'll put a long-haired like gray wig on her or something. Yeah.
Well, yeah, she doesn't have the same color hair as you. Why aren't your eyebrows matching your hair?
I don't know. That's just how they are, and it's funny if you look at my eyebrows really close. There's, you won't see on my crappy laptop, but there's pieces of gray and blonde actually in my brown eyebrows. So it's like this rainbow eyebrow thing I got going on. I don't know how that happened. There was never any blonde in my hair, so I don't know why it would, wind up in my eyebrows.
So this young cast you got in this, the theater actors, how are they in preparation to this? Have you met with them? Have you gone over stuff with them?
Oh yeah, I was very particular with certain things, certain lines that could be said a certain way, but you want to give the actor a little bit of freedom, of course, and let them do what they do. And, I would just basically help them with a couple of pronunciations of a couple of things, but I definitely somebody who likes to over prepare and like rehearse and stuff like that. So there's going to be some rehearsal time coming up before shooting, so we can get the days done on time. But they were great. They were great in auditioning, and there's one particular actress that, immediately impressed me when she came over to audition, and she just rattled off like the 3 pages memorized of dialogue.
Oh wow, that is great.
Without looking at the script. And she basically, like, immediately when I filmed it, to see what the shot that I kind of want and see how she delivers it. And I was just like impressed immediately. I knew by the time I hit stop on my, from recording, I knew like she was my girl. I was just like,
perfect.
All right. I'm like, she came ultra prepared. She nailed every line, first time. I was like, oh my God, she's gonna be like my one take person or something,
Oh, that's great. I'm actually very impressed.
Yeah,
I love hearing that, because I don't know who these people are, but
yeah,
if this is what I'm hearing, I'm invested right there.
Yeah, I mean, theater actors are great to get because they just, that's their preparation. They have to memorize entire screenplays, entire, theater productions by heart, because they can't stop. There's no stopping in theater. So they have to memorize 3 hours worth of material and just go out there on stage and do it. So theater actors are, I mean, that's why a lot of productions pull from theater, because for that reason, and I mean, 15 years ago, I made a few short films, and a lot of that is kind of what you brought up before. It's like, it's your buddies, you're shooting your buddies in the backyard and, out in the woods and making these short movies. And they don't come prepared. They're sitting there trying to memorize it line for line, and you got to keep this, endless bloopers because of that. But with the theater actors, it's great. They're going to come prepared. They're, very excited about it, and it's very impressive to me, because I never had to deal with that before. So it's my first time dealing with these professionals. And Jill, I'm sure she's got, she had 15 years of movies and TV shows that she's done and everything. And like, I have no,
Not bad for somebody who's only 39.
I mean, yeah, seriously.
Yes. I haven't had Jill on here yet. We'll
get her on. I say after the film is done, we'll get her on, and she could tell you all about the experience and how I was a maniac director.
When she does conventions, how many creeps come to her table? And I mean, creeps.
Creeps?
Yeah.
Not the little slugs?
No, the little slugs, the little slug things.
Oh, at least once a convention, there's a creep that shows up.
Yeah.
And then the other kind of creeps, they're always around. But
I'm talking about the slug ones.
Yeah.
Don't they show up?
Sometimes they want an autograph, and sometimes they want to reminisce about, hey, remember when we did that movie in 1986? And it's a very weird conversation.
What's that behind you? I'm seeing credits there. What's that poster behind you?
That is Weekend at Bernie's that we have in our.
Oh, gee! I've interviewed Catherine Mary Stewart in that movie.
Oh yeah, she's awesome. She's great, and that's Dr. Cruz in the middle.
I haven't had him on yet either. Terry Kaiser. Yeah.
But I had the 4 main cast members sign this poster, and it's one of my cherished posters because it's basically complete. I don't have the directive sign or anything, but the 4 main cast members.
I know Sean Clark gets posters signed because he does these videos. I've never gotten posters signed because it's like traveling with these posters and stuff is just, I usually get Blu-rays signed.
Right.
That's usually what I get signed, or pictures. I'll usually get pictures when I'm at conventions, and and I'm hoping to do conventions this fall,
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping, depends on what's going on in Toronto. What's COVID like where you are? Because right here, New Brunswick, we're not out of the woods, but we got kind of the jump on it. Like, I know Edmundston is pretty bad here, but here in like Fredericton, like we're in the yellow phase. We got the phases, green, your home run, then there's yellow, then there's orange, and then red, and I don't know what's above red. Red's really bad, but
I think we're somewhere in the yellow, I guess. We're doing pretty good.
You vaccinated yet?
Oh yeah, I was vaccinated back. Me and Lori both were vaccinated back in January. I have to because of my job, but I still have to wear a mask at my job because I work in a hospital.
I am getting vaccinated a week from today.
For the first time.
Yeah. And I think there's like, I don't know when the second one's going to happen, but I need it done before October because I need to, like, I just found out that people in my age group can now get it.
Yes.
So
39.
I'll tell you, I'm going to be 49, but I don't look as good as Jill Whitlow, so. So, I mean, I got to own it, but but I'm going to get it done. Now, I know people that are skeptical about it because the the amount of research and whatnot. There you go.
Yeah, she is.
There's your kitty.
Oh,
Just
she's
met
biting
it.
she's biting me. She bite the knuckles. Bite the knuckles.
Oh, mine's sitting over there asleep. I don't want to wake him up.
Yeah, she just woke up.
What's your cat's name?
Tabby.
Tabby.
Tabitha. But she's also a tabby cat. So
Mine's a wuss. Mine don't bite. Mine puts a pussy in pussycat.
well, she doesn't really bite either. She kind of like holds like, like how a
Mhm.
dog does. She doesn't
Yeah.
sink her teeth in. She wants to play constantly.
Yeah.
And she's 13 years old and she still wants to play. So
Mine's
that's
about
good.
same age as mine. I've
Yeah.
had mine for a while. Mine's a rescue, so
Yeah. So is Tabby and Lori. Lori's came with
Lori's
the
a
cat.
rescue?
Lori's a rescue too. And she came with the cat.
Yeah, but no, I'm hoping to do conventions this fall. I want to, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to go to Toronto if I have to quarantine, because if I have to quarantine there and then quarantine when I get back, it's like that puts me out of work for a month and a half, about.
Right.
So it's like, and the amount of times my supervisors had to rely on me, I don't want to put her through that. So,
Right.
but I'd like to do Horror Rama on the 2nd and 3rd of October and do a week and go down and see Lisa, because I always see Lisa when I go to Toronto and hang out with her, and then Lisa brought up Frightmare in the Falls,
Mm-hmm.
and she said that's an opening, and she said we could go to that, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I wouldn't mind doing more conventions with Lisa, because that's the first time I'd done a convention where I was involved beyond just being somebody,
You're
because
a table buddy. I
yeah,
call him. I call it being a table buddy.
I did
Um,
that with Lisa on that first one, and that was fun. Lisa is incredibly important to where I am currently, because
right.
I learned a lot. Because here, like when Lisa and I would go to dinner, like I remember when we went to dinner and she would ask me about New Brunswick. She'd never been out this way, and we'd just talk and talk and talk. I actually got to sit down and have a conversation with a female, no romantic anything like that, and I got to learn how to actually treat a woman.
Of course. Yeah.
I don't get that here.
Gotcha.
I don't get that here. When I grew up, I was very odd around women, of course. Actually, it wasn't until and part of that was because I was so insecure about myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was very awkward. I had learning disabilities. But when I sat down and just chatted with Lisa, and it was great. It was just like hanging out with a friend. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and I learned a lot from her, not just about how to talk to women. She wasn't trying to teach me how to talk to women. I learned that on my own just from having a conversation with her.
Mm-hmm.
But she taught me about gave me suggestions like getting business cards done up and this and this and that. She gave me so much advice. Plus, she taught me how to use the subways and streetcars in Toronto. So I owe Lisa a lot. So
That's great. Yeah, that's
so
great.
so I'm hoping to do more conventions with her, because that was fun.
Yeah, I kind of only do conventions now if I'm working at them to some capacity, or unless like a bunch of friends are plan on going and they wanted me to go with them. I'm kind of and I've said it in the previous interview that we did, that I've been doing them since over 20 years now, going to conventions almost every year. And I'm like at a point where I'm not so much into the autographs anymore. I just like to go hang out with my friends, maybe buy a couple of things, and then, not, and only spend the whole weekend if I'm actually working, or hanging out with like Jill or Catherine or somebody that, my celebrity friends that, I've become friends with, like, where we're just like hanging out all weekend, like, and just being either managing or table buddies, and just going out to dinner and have, like a weekend away. I look at
Yeah.
it now. I'm not into, like, my wife is still new to the convention scene, so she likes dropping hundreds of dollars on autographs and stuff like that, where I'm kind of
Here's a
over it.
question. Who's your wife met that like she was just psyched to meet?
Adrienne King was definitely one, because Friday 13th is actually one of her favorite movies. And because I know Adrienne, I told her beforehand. So when we went to the convention, she's when we saw Adrienne, she was like, "Hey, Bobby." It's like, "And you must be the wonderful Lori." And like Lori was just blown away about it. He's like, "Why does she know my name?" Like that, like freaked her out, but in a great way.
Mm-hmm.
She was excited to meet her. Trying to think, well, she was really, she was excited to meet Robert Englund. Any cast members from Halloween.
They ever,
Matthew Lillard, she absolutely loves.
do you guys ever get to meet Muffin or Gordon at these conventions?
No, if there was a dead animal convention, I'm sure we'd be
Oh,
able to see.
Gordon's still alive.
He's still out there. He's like 100 years old in dog years
Yes. Yeah.
now. Yeah, she's still excited to meet. She's actually excited this weekend. There's a Monster Mania outdoor convention.
Mm-hmm.
It's very limited. She's going with her friend, and she's going to meet Marcy from Friday 13th and
Oh,
uh, Lori, Lauren Marie Taylor, Vicky from Part Two. She's getting their autographs this weekend. So she's
okay.
excited to meet them. So yeah, that's where I'm at with conventions. I'm just kind of like, I'll go if there's a good friend of mine that's either wants to hang out there or working there, and then that's the way I look at it. Like the conventions that I'm doing for the rest of the year are ones that Jill is booked at, that I
Mm-hmm.
booked Jill at. So that's in the beginning of September and mid-October. So it'll be in the time that we're editing Victim No More.
Okay.
So like those weekends, won't be editing weekends. I have an editor, but I like to be there for editing for most of the time.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow.
Yeah, uh, so that's basically the only two shows coming up that I'll be doing.
Well, I don't know
Um,
what's going on here. I know Toronto is still, I think, on lockdown or something like that, and
right.
and normally I would have my plane tickets and everything all ready by now,
Mm-hmm.
but 'cause I told my supervisor, I said, I don't know, it's up in the air what I'm doing October, you know, but if I could do a couple conventions, I'd be open to it. And I kept in touch with Lisa. I call her on a weekly basis and play catch up, but I miss going there. I miss Toronto, and Lisa's not the only one from Toronto I've kept in touch with either. But there's been other people as well, but she's the main one. But it's like that's my window because before that I'd never really traveled.
Right.
I've never
Yeah.
been to the States. What's the States like now Trump's out of office?
there's people there's people cheering in the streets on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Everybody's happy we have a president we could ignore. Like just like as most presidents should be, just like just in the office doing whatever he's doing, and it's not causing like, you know, just I don't know, just whatever. It's I can't say that for all because I do have like friends that are Trump supporters, and
Same here.
it's like it's kind of 50-50. It's like, half the people see the world one way and the other half see it another way, and it's like I don't bring up politics.
No,
I
same
just
here.
I just go by what is unedited on screen in front of me that's said, and I just get confused when people see it a different way, and I just kind of put it aside and go, okay, I don't really get involved.
Actually, I
But
should.
but it seems like there was a great, from my friends and family and people around me, it seems like there was a great weight lifted off of him
Mhm.
when he was out of office. And it was very predictable what would happen when he wasn't announced president, what would happen. Like everybody knew, like he wouldn't take it lightly, and people would start storming capitals and
Oh, jeepers, yeah.
doing ridiculous things when it's like, okay. But I don't know, whatever. I live in a movie entertainment world. I don't really pay much attention to what happens in real life.
Same here.
So
I was going to ask too, and this just occurred to me. Speaking of manic behavior, what do you think of the whole Tony Moran situation? You must have seen
I
that.
I heard about this, and hold on, I gotta check it. I actually have to like wrap things
Yep.
up. But yeah, he was kind of, what exactly was it? He was kind of saying bad things about fans or something, or what is he saying?
Yeah, and he's all pissed off at Sean Clark, and Sean Clark has worked with him for years. It's not his fault, and he said a lot of inappropriate stuff and about John Carpenter, about Jamie Lee Curtis, about who's the guy who played Michael in Rob Zombie Halloween? What his name's escaping me.
Yeah,
Yeah, his name's
I've heard a
escaping.
lot of I've heard a lot of nasty things about him, but
Well, the stuff that Tony Moran's said, like it was on camera, and put this way, he may have severed his convention fees.
yeah, and it's funny because we're gonna be at a convention with him in the weekend of September 3rd, me and Jill.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's booked at that convention. So I get to see firsthand,
Well, let me put it this way. I know
what the
that
line of fans is like.
I know Sandy Johnson, I don't think wants to be at any like close to him. She didn't
Right.
like it.
No,
Yeah,
I mean, when you're in that position, you really shouldn't say any negative thing towards
people
people
paying.
that you worked with in movies and your fan base. You should never say, you should just, if you have that opinion, then it's just best to like kind of keep it to yourself and kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
not say anything. If you have nothing good to say, don't say anything. That's really, I mean, it's kind of fun when you do hear things like that, because it's just like, oh man, that guy, I respect that guy for just saying it bluntly as it is and having his opinion. But it's, on the other hand, it's like, well, he shouldn't have said that if he wants to continue like getting booked for conventions and signing autographs and all that.
Well,
it's like you just damaged yourself. So
I got the beanies over there, but I'm wearing the Victim No More shirt. But I thought I'd show these off.
Great hats.
Yeah,
Great hats. The beanie is one of my favorite things too.
I wear the beanie all the time. I wear it at work.
it's comfortable, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
like
I love it.
comfortable.
Yeah.
It's good quality. And that's really the thing that I didn't want to. There you go, part two. I sent that to you,
Right.
right?
Yep. Yep.
Um,
What's this
uh,
here? See if I can show that up.
oh, Survival of the Film Geeks. It was like a little documentary about horror movies.
Oh, that's what that was? Okay.
Yeah, these guys that we met at, my wife and I met at a convention years ago. Gave
Looked
us a
like
bunch
the
of
poster
boxes.
for Maniac.
Well, that's what it's, yeah, basically supposed
Okay.
to be.
Of course, Victim No More pens and
Yeah, and you got more pins coming.
yeah,
The thing about I
posters.
wanted to give like good quality,
Mm-hmm.
merchandise with the perks and everything. Like sometimes I see the perks or merchandise on other campaigns, and they just didn't seem like the best of quality. So I was just like, I'm like, I don't want to cheap out on.
Do you want me to be frank with you? I don't even know what I got coming to me from 13 Fanboy. I don't remember. I don't remember what's coming to me from that.
I don't think Deborah will cheap out.
I don't think
Deborah,
she'll cheap out. I just can't
yeah, Deborah will be
remember.
good quality. That's it.
Same
Well,
with
it's funny. It's like, and you probably didn't remember that we still owe you the spoiler poster with the signatures on it too.
yeah,
You probably forgot about that too.
yeah.
And I think with the spoiler posters, we're only going to have like 5 made right now. And see how it takes off. If people like the alternate poster that we're doing, as opposed to the teaser one that that's on your shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And with the Blu-rays, we were thinking about doing reversible covers.
Okay.
So it would be that on the front, what you're wearing, and then you could flip it for the spoiler poster.
Which would be like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Which there'll be giant tomatoes that are spelling out "Victim No More."
Have you showed that to Jill or to Lori yet?
No, she has no interest in any kind of killer tomato movie.
Oh, come on. That'll be her new favorite.
It's like we're gonna have a marathon, all right? All 4 killer tomato movies. Let's do this.
Yeah. What was I gonna ask?
I'm glad you like all the merchandise.
Oh so. Yeah, I do. I did the video. Of course, I showed you. It's still up on my YouTube. The
unboxing.
The unboxing of it. That was fun. So I did that, and yeah, I look forward to seeing the finished product.
Thank you.
And yeah, glad to have my name on it. And yeah, looking forward to seeing. Do you have any idea what your next project will be after this?
Actually, it's funny. I was thinking about it today that, if and when this is a success, I kind of want to do a sequel to it. But I kind of want to do it, and I can't talk about it because of what happens at the end of Victim No More. It might lead into what I want to do with the sequel. Mm-hmm. But there might be a possible sequel idea or 2. I would never go more than 3 films if I was going to do more. So it would never go past part 3. I'm saying that right now. Just it would be either 2 movies or a trilogy. That's
okay.
Beyond that, nothing is planned. Beyond that, I need to save up to get a more permanent residence for my wife and I. That's the future project, is getting a condo that we're saving up for.
You live in an apartment like I do?
Yes.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah, I just live in this little cubby apartment until my brother and sister-in-law and I are able to get a housing project off the ground, so that the plan is to get solar panels and stuff like that on there, and so it cuts us down on a power bill and stuff. And maybe my brother said I could live there and I could go to Toronto once or twice a year, and because originally I wanted to move to Toronto, but I keep hearing people keep telling me I wouldn't survive there, and Lisa thinks I might do all right, but I
I
got to
don't know how
be
you can survive
optimistic.
there.
Huh?
I don't know
Well,
what that means.
survive meaning it's expensive to live there.
Oh, it's kind of like New York City here,
Hmm.
where I live. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah. So
yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, so I'd have to be careful, but if I can go there a couple times a year, do conventions, yeah, I'm open to
Definitely
that. Yeah,
sounds good.
sounds
And if I
good.
ever come to Toronto, then it'll be easier to, visit you.
Well, I live
So
in the New Brunswick area. Toronto is an hour behind me in the time zone,
no, but
just
if
like,
you move to Toronto, then it would be easier. So
yeah, I've been here my whole life. So I've actually, 5 years ago, I would have laughed at the idea of traveling. But
mhm.
when Lisa invited me to a sister at Horrorama, it's like, how can I say no to that?
Yeah, you can't. Yeah,
Yeah. So I did it,
open you
and
up into the convention world. You got to do it.
I got hooked. I tell you, it's the first time I was away from home where I
Mhm.
wasn't homesick.
Okay, that's
And
great.
considering that's the farthest I've been, that's a strange feeling,
Absolutely.
So there you
Yeah,
go.
totally.
Well, we look
Um,
forward to Victim No More and getting that underway. It got delayed last year, and because COVID,
mhm.
that
Yep.
the new four-letter word with more than four letters. Oh,
Yeah, it definitely. You know, it's funny that the campaign wrapped 2 days before the world was shut down, and I was just happy that the campaign ended right before COVID. So it's like we got our budget just in time to be okay with the production. And I noticed other projects having a difficult time when post COVID announcement, like late March and into April, that a lot of projects were having a hard time getting off the ground because people didn't know how long they were going to be out of work and if they would have the money to contribute. And it's like, oh my God, it's like there was definitely an angel on my shoulder that you know, helped us make our budget. And it's great because since we made the budget, I was able to put more money into it over the course of the last year.
no,
So
you still in
that
touch with
the
Noelle?
postponement, what's up?
You still in touch with Noelle Berger?
Yes, still in touch with her, and I'm actually going to talk to her next week
I haven't
regarding
talked.
something.
I haven't talked to her in a while. I don't
Yeah.
know what's going on with her, but I was supposed to have her on for a second time back in February, and
Mhm.
I waited here for 2 hours. And
Yeah, yeah, I heard about that.
yeah, um, she got back to me. I guess she wasn't feeling well, and I guess she laid down, and that happens. So
Yeah,
I get it. And by the time she woke up, it was well past. But I wish I had known prior, so I wouldn't sit here. But I
absolutely.
won't hold. I'm not holding that against her. I get it. We've all been
Yeah,
there, all been there. But
yeah,
but
she's great. I got to give her a call next week um, about something. But yeah, we're good to go. We can't wait to start shooting, and you know the post production stuff is always like the most fun, and the stuff that I really look forward to is putting it together with everything,
hmm
and then getting it out there and showing everybody. So the last thing I want to mention too is that anybody looking for a website for it, that's being worked on right now,
hmm
and probably mid-August, right while we're shooting it, we're gonna have a website put up, but that's all just Victim No More. IMDb will be up shortly in the next couple of months. Um, and yeah, we can't wait. I can't wait for the premiere. We're gonna show it to a few different places, a few different theaters first, and then probably make the rounds at some conventions and send out all the Blu-rays to everybody who got those packages, and just see where the ride takes us, and hopefully everybody enjoys this quote unquote installment to the Friday the 13th saga.
Yeah. Do you see any light at the end of the tunnel with that franchise right now? Or do you think they'll still be
right now, I will never give up hope with the Friday the 13th movies. It might be another 5 years or something before we see something. And who knows what studio is going to wind up with it. But and they'll probably have to start from scratch, because
I think they should let Vincent DeSante take it over.
Sure, why
Vincent
not?
DeSante, I had him on at the end of April, and for a second time, and he knows how to fill in the plot holes. Like, he knows exactly what he's doing. In fact, I'd even agree with Dave McCrae going back and tell Pamela Voorhees' story.
I definitely feel that should be a thing. If they're going to start with another remake of the movie or something, like, just go back to the beginning. But you also have to give Friday the 13th fans everything that they want from a Friday the 13th movie. You got to have Jason in it. You got to have the camp to start off.
You want me to tell you what I would do?
What's up?
If I was to tell the Pamela Voorhees story, I wouldn't call it Friday the 13th anything. I'd give it a different title.
Pamela's Tale.
I wouldn't even do that. I would, when I advertise it, I would advertise it almost like you'd go see something like Seven. I'd advertise it like that. I would not even,
Pamela.
I wouldn't mention anything about Crystal Lake in the trailer. I would try to catch people with the advertisement, and I would because you want people to go there and be surprised by it. You don't want people to go there expecting Jason. I wouldn't even mention anything Friday the 13th related. Let people come in and be surprised. Then they're invested, and if you give them a great movie, then you could trail off with Jason in the next one.
That's an interesting idea. I mean,
I'd have
as
Jason
far as like Friday the 13th world building, that's probably the smart thing they could do if they were.
That's what I would do.
I don't know. It's an interesting take on it.
I would shoot.
I don't think they would do that, but
I would shoot it. I'd have Jason drown somewhere in the middle of it. And the whole thing about, as Rex says, bunch of fires, poisoning the water, whatever, I would have happen.
Right.
And see how we end that chapter. But when I advertise it, like, I wouldn't mention Voorhees, I wouldn't mention Crystal Lake. Yeah, I'd make it look like an advertisement for something like Seven, and get people interested that way. And then when they come into it, unleash it. Because and then if you make a great enough movie, you've got people that will be there, and then you can, if they love what they see, then it's like, okay, then I guess we'll go get Jason in the next one. Yep.
Yeah, that's a good take on it.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, that's the point of all fan fiction, is like, we want to see this, and see what people think of this idea. And again, like I was saying earlier, it's like Friday 13th franchise now, you could just take anywhere. Just make more, and it'll go through cycles where we bring it back to basics, and then it'll get extreme again. And then, with like the Jason X concepts or whatever.
Oh, gee.
Or just, but then it'll go back to basics again for the fans that love Jason at the camp. They're trying to reopen the camp. It gets shut down because people get killed there. Like it'll do that in cycles. A few movies here of that, a few movies there, something else, you know. But
Well, Vincent
I never wanted
DeSante.
to, and that's my final word on it.
Vincent DeSante, I think, really knows what he's doing. I had him on here again for the second time, and the stuff he shared with me that he wants to do, I'm like, put him on this, you know?
Yeah,
Not
Ben's a
not
great guy.
yeah.
And it's coming from a place of he doesn't want to become famous from making this stuff. It's coming
Mhm.
from, you know, a real place where it's like he's a fan. He wants to see this story. He wants to see this story done in a certain way of chapters. And that's, you know, he's just taking it film by film. Where
Mhm.
there's other people that want to get, you know, they're immediately thinking of like, I want to do this to establish myself in some form of industry so I could then move on to something else. And I'm not mentioning any names there, but
No.
or films there.
Yeah.
But I do feel like, you know, there's ones that are coming from the heart through the
Mhm.
fans, and then there's other ones that are just like, you know, they're just looking at it a different way and doing it for a different reason. So
Yeah.
and trying to make money off of it too. And that kind of that bugs me when I like see people at a fan, you know, who are in a fan film and they're at like conventions signing autographs and stuff. And I'm just like, you're not technically like
Yeah, Vincent
and
DeSante
charging the
won't.
same amount of money as like, you know, somebody who was Michael Myers or Jason in actual Friday the 13th movies. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I understand if you had this great body of work and had this career,
Yeah,
or
Vincent
was in something
DeSante
that's a
won't do
huge
that
cult classic.
either.
No,
No.
Vin would never do that.
No,
No,
Vincent
Vin,
has got a good head on his shoulders.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's my
Yeah.
thoughts. Just, I mean, it's fine that they do that. That's their thing. I'm not saying anything negative really about
Mhm.
that. I just, again, it's like politics, you know. It's like you see one way of looking at it, and somebody else has another way of looking at it. So,
Yeah.
but I gotta go. So
Yeah,
we will
well,
do this again, definitely.
well, Bobby, I was glad to have you on here today, and I know you gotta go because
Thank you for having me.
you gotta go work with Axel, and
Yes, Axel in the psych area of the hospital. Yes.
gotta keep Vi contained and Chris Higgins and
There's a man with no life in his eyes.
poor Nurse Morgan has to. But
Put up with Axel's shenanigans. Yeah.
yes, Axel and his employee of the year.
Oh my God. Uh,
Oh, it was wonderful having you on, and I
Thank you.
love doing these texts back and forth, and I hope it entertained you.
Try not to do it on the weekend. I'm trying to spend it with my wife, and then I'll get a ping, and I'm like, what? Got to spend it with my wife. I never see her. So,
So you don't want to you don't want to a text that's on the weekend that says update. Jimbo is still a dead fuck.
did you?
Details at 11.
Details at 11. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
But,
Oh yeah.
but I hope everybody enjoys listening to this, and you
Oh,
know
I
they come
enjoyed.
support Victim No More and
Mm-hmm.
give all those fan films out there a chance. Why not? You know, like them or hate them. It's not hurting anyone. So
No. No.
so
Well, I'm glad to be part of this, and look forward to seeing the end result.
yep. Me
Absolutely.
too.
All right. Well, you take care, and God bless, and I'll send
Thank
you
you.
probably a strange text soon.
Okay. Have a good one, man.
Take it easy, man.
Take it easy. Bye bye.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yep.